For centuries, a single number has been basically synonymous with evil, 666. But what if I told you its true meaning isn't about some future apocalypse, but actually a secret message of rebellion against the most powerful empire the world had ever seen? Today, we're going to crack that ancient code. So forget the horror movies, because the real story is this brilliant piece of political and theological defiance that's been hiding in plain sight for 2,000 years.
Right, so this one verse from the book of Revelation has sparked fear for millennia. But look closer. The author gives us a direct instruction: calculate. This isn't just a prophecy. It's a challenge. It's a puzzle. And it's a puzzle that its original first-century audience was totally equipped to solve.
So, here's how we're going to unravel this mystery. First, we'll look at the riddle itself. Then, we'll find the solution in an ancient code called gematria. After that, we'll explore the wild legend of Nero's return, see how that story got turned into a demonic parody, and finally, uncover the hidden geometry of good and evil baked right into the numbers.
Okay, first things first, we have to shift our perspective. This text was not written for us in the 21st century. It was a fiercely political and religious document, written under the shadow of the Roman Empire, and it used common literary tricks of the time to get a pretty dangerous message across.
The key is right there in that word, calculate. The author is signaling a very specific practice, a kind of numerical wordplay that was super well known in both Jewish and Greco-Roman cultures. It was a clever way to embed a hidden meaning or even a secret identity into a text for those who had the, quote, wisdom to see it.
So what was this practice? Well, the main tool for solving this riddle is something called gematria, and you can think of it as the ancient world's version of a secret cipher.
You see, unlike our modern alphabet, in ancient Hebrew and Greek, every single letter also served as a number. So you could take any name or any word, add up the value of its letters, and get a total sum. This allowed for all kinds of clever riddles and connections. It was kind of like a secret handshake for people who could read. Okay, so here it is, the solution. When you take the name of that infamous Roman emperor, Nero Caesar, and you write it out using Hebrew letters as Nero Caesar, the numerical values of those letters add up to exactly 666. For anyone in the first century who understood this practice, the answer was just undeniable.
And what's really amazing is this solution is so strong, it even explains a famous variation found in some of the early manuscripts of Revelation, where the number isn't 666, it's 616. Well, what happens if you use the common Latin spelling of his name, Nero, instead of the Greek Neron? You just drop that final N from the Hebrew, and the new sum is exactly 616. This isn't a contradiction, it's actually a confirmation.
But wait, it gets even better. The author adds another layer of just literary genius. The Greek word for beast itself, therion, well, if you write that in Hebrew letters, it also adds up to 666. The mathematical link is undeniable. The message couldn't be clearer. Nero Caesar is the beast.
But, just identifying Nero isn't quite enough. The real question is, why him? To understand why he became the ultimate symbol for anti-God power, we have to look at the political chaos and the popular myths that were swirling around after his death. He was literally the perfect villain for the story.
So picture this. Nero commits suicide in 68 AD, and the Roman Empire is just thrown into absolute chaos. This period, known as the Year of the Four Emperors, was a brutal civil war that nearly tore the empire apart. And right in the middle of all this turmoil, a powerful legend starts to spread.
This was the Nero Reestablishment, the legend that Nero would rise again. The story went that he hadn't really died, but had escaped to Rome's great rival, Parthia, and that one day he would return at the head of a foreign army to burn Rome and reclaim his throne. This powerful image of a resurrected emperor of chaos, well, it was the perfect figure for the author of Revelation to cast as the ultimate enemy of God.
Now this is where things get really clever. The author of Revelation doesn't just, repeat this popular legend. He creatively hijacks it and transforms it into this profound theological argument by building a dark mirror image, a demonic parody of Jesus Christ.
I mean, just look at the language here. It is incredible. The lamb is seen as if slain. The beast's head is wounded as if slain. The Greek word is identical. Christ was dead and came to life. The beast was wounded and yet lived. God is he who was and is to come. The beast was and is not and is to come. It is a shocking, totally deliberate imitation of Christ's death, resurrection, and second coming.
So the author takes this legend and applies it directly to recent history. The beast's mortal wound isn't just Nero's suicide, it represents the near death of the Roman Empire itself during that civil war. And its miraculous healing, its recovery under the new Flavian dynasty, is framed as a demonic resurrection of this godless power.
But believe it or not, we're not done yet. There is one final and honestly pretty mind-blowing layer of symbolism encoded in the actual mathematics of the numbers the author chose. This goes way beyond simple calculation and into the philosophy of numbers.
You see, in ancient Pythagorean mathematics, numbers had geometric shapes and really deep symbolic meanings. Triangular numbers were often seen as incomplete, while square numbers represented perfection, stability, and order.
And guess what? The number of the beast, 666, is a classic triangular number. It's the sum of all the integers from 1 all the way up to 36. And this mathematical property literally brands the beast with a mark of fundamental imperfection and instability.
Now look at the complete contrast. Throughout Revelation, the numbers that are associated with God's people are all based on 12, and it's square, 144. You have 12 tribes, 12 apostles. The New Jerusalem's wall is 144 cubits. The total number of the saved is 144,000. These are numbers of divine order, completeness, and perfect structure.
So what you get is this incredibly powerful symbolic contrast, a mathematical battle between the singular, chaotic evil represented by the triangular 666 and the huge, ordered, and perfect community represented by the square of 12. It's good versus evil, written in the language of geometry.
And this really gets right to the heart of it. As the scholar Richard Bauckham puts it, the numbers aren't just some clever code to be broken. They're painting a picture. The beast's number, 666, symbolizes humanity at its worst, debased and against God, while the city's number, 144, represents humanity restored and perfected.
So when you peel back all those layers of superstition, what do you find? Something way more compelling. 666 isn't some future terror, but a brilliant piece of first-century political critique. It's a sophisticated attack on the divine claims of the Roman Empire, using every literary and mathematical tool they had to declare that Caesar is not Lord. And that leaves us with a final thought. Maybe the real power of these texts isn't in predicting the future, but in understanding how people in the past bravely stood up to the empires of their own day.